Greetings, Top Hat Runner here. Now, I recently made an Airsoft scope cam video. I'm going to put a link to that in the video description. And I had some people asking me how I did the scope cam. It's very simple. All you need is an Orion SteadyPix Deluxe mount. You see, all this thing does here is it's pretty much just a clamp. Just clamps, screws down onto your scope. It'll work with anything bigger than like an inch in diameter. So you clamp this onto your scope, and it's completely adjustable. You can slide this thing forward and backward. You can rotate this. You can also slide this up and down, so you can get your camera settled in right behind your scope in a way that, you know, it's the right distance away from your scope. It's got all that eye relief and everything all lined up. So then you just gotta, I'm not gonna set it up because it takes a little while, but you just gotta adjust your camera so it's focused on your scope properly. Now, this is a very good mount. I highly recommend it, but there's a few things you should know. First of all, this mount, you have to make sure that your camera has metal threads here, or you can very easily strip them out with this screw here. The first camera I tried to put on here had plastic threads, and this just ripped them right off. So if you're very careful, you can probably be alright with plastic threads, but just be very mindful of that. The mount it works really well. You can tighten this stuff really tight so it doesn't jiggle around or move at all. It's very stable. You don't have to worry about it falling off your gun. One more thing I'd like to mention about this mount is that these little rubber things on here, they give you traction to metal scopes. It's not really a big deal for me because I use a plastic scope, but these rubber paddings will fall off. As you can see, I lost one here. I kind of replaced it with some foam. It doesn't work as well as the rubber, but if you do get one of these, I recommend just immediately peeling the rubber off. It comes off easily, and super gluing it back on so then you don't have to worry about losing it. In fact, this rubber here is even starting to fall off. I need to put more super glue on it. Now there's two ways that you can actually use this mount. There's the way I mentioned earlier. Probably could have done a better job of aligning it, but you get the idea. It's kind of what it looks like here. Now if I was actually focusing on something far away, you'd be able to see the crosshair. Yeah, there we go. Also, you can rotate your camera so it doesn't look lopsided like that. But anyway, that's the gist of what it looks like when your camera is attached to the back of it. Now, the pros of this method would be that it looks pretty cool. You know, you're filming right down your scope. However, the con of filming it this way, which is a rather detrimental con, at least for my Type 97, is that the camera is so far back. I mean, this gun, when it's comfortably shouldered, your head's about here. And, you can't really aim with the camera in like 3 inches into your face, so it's not really comfortable. I could probably mount my camera a bit farther forward, but that wouldn't really make too much of a difference. If you're using a gun like a 417 or 416 or something with a really long rail where you can mount your scope like way up here so that the whole scope and camera stops here somewhere way farther forward, it would actually be really useful to, you know, use your camera like this, because you don't have to be concerned with eye relief. Just look at the back of your camera and it's all properly aligned. You can even like kind of aim around corners here, hold it out in front of you, but for out on the field with my Type 97, at least this way just does not work for me. It's really hard for me to aim. I can't aim as fast or as well. Or you can do it the way I did it in my video, which is to hook it onto the front of your camera here. Sorry, you hook it onto the front of your scope, and that way, give me just a second to adjust this here. All I did here was just attach my camera to the top of my scope like so. Now the cons of doing it this way is, you know, when this camera is filming down the scope, I think it looks cooler. However, the pros of this method far outweigh the con. The pros are that it doesn't get in your way at all. You know, I can still aim down my scope really comfortably, really easily. Another pro is that if, you know, this camera isn't aimed exactly, you know, where my BBs are going, I can edit in the crosshairs wherever the BBs are going. Because if you're like aiming down the scope with your camera, and your scope's not properly aligned, you might be able to use your scope, but if your crosshairs aren't over, you know, right what you're shooting, you're going to confuse your viewers a bit. Another pro of this way of doing it is that you can stabilize your scope mount a bit with just some rubber bands. Now you'd want to do this because, now if you're shooting bolt action or semi-automatic, you're not going to notice anything, but in full automatic your gun does vibrate enough because of the whole, you know, springs and gearbox moving, that it's going to cause a noticeable amount of shake in your video. Not too much, but still a noticeable amount. And if you put some rubber bands on here or something to help stabilize it, it will help. Now, this is only moving because I don't have my scope mount tightened all the way. If I tighten the screws down, it wouldn't really move at all with the rubber bands. Also, I have it set up here so that I can put some plastic in front of my camera, so I don't really have to worry about it getting shot, which is nice. Definitely don't want to break my camera. It almost looks a little silly, but I really don't care. You know, get a lot of people on the field ask and say, dude, what's up with that? I say, it's a scope cam, you know, it makes awesome videos. Check out my channel on YouTube. You know, shameless self-plug. You know, that's always good. So there you go. That's how I do scope cams. Hope this helped you guys. And all that good stuff. Peace.